So first we require to understand what is Python. So basically Python is a high level general purpose scripting language. So as like our other programming or other scripting languages like JavaScript and Java or C++. But the only major difference is Python is purely scripting language rather than programming. Okay. So what is like main intention or the what do you call it, the use case of Python means the Python basically used to develop the multi-purpose language. I mean, let's say multiple based applications. So basically, whenever you want to develop any scope of application, we can use Python. So high level, I can say that it is a simple scripting language which will use it to create multiple applications. It might be web applications or desktop applications or ML based applications, anything. So it is quite similar to other languages, but it has some advantages. Like example, it is easy to understand and developer friendly. That means it reduces so many syntactical rules and regulations to write the program. And it is initially that written and maintained by God Van Rossum. He is, we can say, founder of Python. But the main point we require to understand here is features. So what is Python and how it is internally working? So that all we require to understand here. So that's why today I will just give you a brief intro about features of Python, and then I will go for installation of Python and Pycharm, and I will show you sample program, and the core programming concepts will start from next class onwards. Okay. And here, first thing, as I mentioned, it is a general purpose language. So what do you mean by general purpose means? So basically, if you go for JavaScript or HTML, so they are specific to web application development. So you cannot develop other than web application using JavaScript or HTML. If you go for SQL, so it is mainly intention to develop the scripts or queries to communicate with the database. Okay. But whereas if you go for Java or Python, so this programming or scripting language can have multiple scope of applications in the market. Means by using Python, you can learn, that you can learn and develop the desktop applications, and also you can develop the web applications, and also you can develop the games. It also used for automation testing, and also it is used for like what do you call data science, machine learning, and we have IoT. So likewise, we have multiple domains to work once you complete your core Python or complete Python, I can say that. So once you understand and complete the Python language, you can able to develop this many applications, and Python supports these all applications. So that's why we call it as a general purpose language. Means you can able to develop multiple scope of applications using Python. Okay. And the very most important and feature which is given by the Python is it is dynamically typed language. So what do you mean by dynamically typed, sir? Means whenever you require to use any value or variable, you don't require to declare the respective variable initially. So you can directly use when they're required in the program. Example, I will tell you simply. If you go for C or Java or JavaScript, if you want to define a equal to, let's take 10, before that you require to define like int a, right? So I hope you remember, like if someone go for Java or C, you may remember. Like every time whenever you are writing some variable, you require to define the respective variable before that usage. Okay. Means like example, if you see, for example, f equal to, if I'm writing 1.2, so then you require to define it is as a double or float, we can say that. So likewise, for every variable, we require to define the respective type of the value. But in Python, it is not required. So like means whenever you require any variable or variable, you directly use in the program. You don't require to define the respective variables before the actual initialization. Okay. So that's why we called it as a dynamically typed language. Means you don't require to define the type of the variable in the program by the value what we are giving here. So whatever the value we are giving, let's take example here I given a equal to 10. Now system will understand a is an integer. So similarly here f equal to 1.2. So then system will understand f is float. For example, if you define x is equal to within the double quotes hello, assume that. So now x is indicating string. So likewise, whatever the data we are assigning to the variable, so based on the data, the system will declare the variables internally by the type of the respective variable. You don't require to define any variable externally. So that is the one of the main feature or advantage of developers to write a Python program comparatively other programming languages. So is these 2 points clear for everyone? First two features of Python, or any doubt? Can anyone confirm? So is the two features are clear? First one, it is general purpose language, and second one, it is dynamically typed language.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. And now the third feature is it is purely interpreter based language, means basically whenever we are writing any program in general recent days, we will use the high level language. Okay, so basically we have low level and high level. Low level means you know that binary. Okay, so generally system will understand only binary format. It does not understand whatever the language we are writing, like English alphabets A to Z directly. So whatever the high level, or in simpler words I can say English program, whatever program we are writing, that should be internally has to convert to the system. Otherwise the system cannot understand whatever the program we are typing or we are executing. Okay, so for that we require to convert the high level language to binary, and then the binary code will be executed in the machine to get our output. Okay, so for that purpose, like to convert high level to low level, we call simply transformation or translation. Okay, so simply we called it is translation. So to do these translations, we have in the market two types of softwares or tools. One is compiler, another one interpreter. Okay, so the basic difference between the compiler and interpreter is compiler will convert all the lines at a time. Like example, in your program you have 100 lines or 200 lines or 300 lines code. So the 200 or 100 lines will convert at a time. And if any errors are identified at any line, it will showcase all at a time. Let's say example, the compiler identified one error in the line number 2 and another error in the line number 60. Assume that. So now both the errors will be showcased at a time, and the developer can see both the errors and he can fix them at a time. Likewise, the compiler will work out. But whereas the quite opposite to compiler, interpreter will convert line by line. So that means until unless the line number 1 will execute it successfully, it won't go for line number 2. So if we found any issues in line number 1, it doesn't go for line number 2 conversion. So that is how the interpreter will work, line by line execution. And the next point, as I mentioned previous case, in compiler case, if you found two errors, it will display the two errors irrespective of the line or irrespective of the position. But whereas interpreter is not like that. If, for example, you got an error at the line number 2, though it is having the error in the line number 60, it doesn't show the 60. It will only show you the line number 2 error first. Until unless you fix it, it does not scan the other code. So once you fix the line number 2 error, then only it will go for executing the other lines, and you can able to see the line number 60 error. So likewise, compiler will execute all the lines at a time, and interpreter will execute line by line. Okay, so here if you go for Python, it is purely interpreter based language. That means whatever the code we are writing or whatever the program we are executing, it will execute or it will convert line by line rather than all at a time. So that means if you have errors in multiple places, you will show one by one only. It does not show all at a time. Okay. But whereas if you see Java is purely compiler based, but even though it is internally using interpreter. When you go for C, it's purely compiler based. So mostly all scripting, like example, JavaScript, VBScript, Python, Perl, these are all based mostly interpreter based language. Okay. So as to the continuation of the same above point, we have the another point is it is high level language, as I mentioned. So we are directly writing the program in terms of our regular language like English. So that's why we call it as a high level language. You don't require to remember our short codes or any binary codes. So once we return the program, the interpreter will convert it to low level and it will return the response again into the high level only, so that we don't require to think about the background process. We just think about how we are writing the program in our regular process. So does anyone have any doubts in these 2 points again? So from the third point, you require to understand Python will execute line by line. Errors also displayed will be one by one. And we are writing program in regular English only. That's what we call high level. So does anyone have any doubt? Please ask me. Otherwise, I will go to the next point. Any doubt as of now? Okay, I'm considering as you know. So here, if you go for the next point here, next feature, I can say that. So the next feature is it is portable and scalable. Yes, 100%. The code or the program or the application, whatever we are developing by using Python, can be portable and scalable nature. Portability means moving from one place to another place to some source like pen drive or mail or some hard disk. So whatever the project or application we are developing by using Python, you can copy that and you can go to another place, paste it, and you can run it directly. So that is the portable nature what it's supporting, and also scalable nature. Like example, initially you did the program for 5 features. Now you want to add 2 more features. Yes, you can add it. Let's take example. Instead of waiting to complete entire project till the end, maybe you can do by feature by feature. So that facilitation we have in the Python. So that means initially we can release the application by 2 features, and after few months by adding the another feature we can re-release that. So likewise we can keep on adding the new functionality or remove the functionality which we don't want to continue in the existing application. So that 2 options we have available in the Python. So that nature we call scalable nature. So portability means moving from one place to that one system to another system through some source of transformation like hard disk or pen drive or something like disk or anything. Scalability means modify the existing code, simpler words. Okay. And coming to the platform independent language. So what do you mean by platform independent means the program or the project what we are developing, it is irrespective of operating system and a processor it will execute. Assume that as a developer you are currently using Windows machine. Okay, so in that you have Intel processor with 64-bit. Okay, let's assume that you created one application and it is executed successfully and you are ready to test it. Assume that before testing you can check it out like whether that application is running in the Mac or Unix or Linux, because in the world there is no guarantee that every user will use same Windows machine only. Maybe some people will use Linux, some people will use Mac, or some people will use Linux also. But all that operating system should support our application, so that only we can use our application. And similarly, processor, like sometimes we may use Intel or AMD processor, or sometimes we may have 64-bit, sometimes we may use 32-bit processor. So that is what the scope of the application. See, if you are developing some application for limited scope, let's take example Windows only. Now maybe the other people may not showing interest to use it, and scope of application will be limited. So the point here is if you're using or if you're developing some application, irrespective of scope of the resources or hardware or software, so that might be having good feature and good scope in the market. So that's why even Python also implementing all the applications or all the projects what we are developing, it's purely platform independent. Means you can able to run in the multiple operating systems and you can able to run in the multiple processors what we have in the currently market. So I hope you understand everyone these points, or if you have any concern you can tell me. So I hope you understand platform independent means it supports multiple OS and also hardware like processor, I can say that. Okay. And a portability means moving the source code from one place to another place. And as I mentioned, so from here, like whatever the other features we have here listed out, these are all different functionalities or features or programming concepts which are supported by the Python, and all these are your upcoming classes basically. See, till the point whatever I covered, these are all just theoretical points, just to know that and to understand it. But after now, whatever the points I'm covering, these are all purely used concepts or upcoming your class only, I can say that. So after basics, we may cover all these concepts one by one. So the first one, object-oriented language as like Java. It is also purely object-oriented language. That means Python also supports a concepts like class and object, inheritance, abstraction, encapsulation, polymorphism, and also like class and object, constructor, destructor. So these are all topics as like Java or .NET or CPP we have in Python also. So we may cover these all topics in upcoming classes, how to define the class, how to define the object, and how to create an inheritance topic, everything will cover. And also each topic, what it means, will also cover in the upcoming class, like what do you mean by inheritance, what do you mean by polymorphism, and how they will use in the real-time projects, and everything will cover one by one. But till the point you remember, Python also supports all the OOPS concepts as like Java, okay? So it supports, as I mentioned, right? So first one, the main core concept is class and object. And the second one is constructor and destructor. And the third one, inheritance. And the fourth one, polymorphism. And the fifth one, encapsulation. And the next one, abstraction. These are the main core components of OOPS concepts. Along with that, we have message passing and dynamic binding. So these are all topics which are supported by Python. So we'll see each topic and each concept how we will use in the real time. We'll see in the upcoming class. Okay, and also it is a open source language, unlike .NET or Java. It's a purely open source language. That means you can free of cost, you can download the latest version of Python and you can use it for our, whatever your needs for our application requirement. And similarly, even you can customize the existing Python, you can modify as your comfort, as your requirement. So that means open source means you can use however you want or whatever the requirement you have. And similarly, Python is also supposed to develop the multiple libraries which are available in the market. That's why we called it is a rich library language. Means in the Google or GitHub or what you call Stack Overflow, we have millions of libraries for different scope of requirements. So that all we can simply import them and we can use them in our mission for our applications without giving any 1 rupee. So that also I will tell you how to use them and how to install them. That everything I will tell you, okay, in upcoming classes. And there are all the topics purely it's a programming concepts like multi-threading. You may had it like if you want to execute the any programs or any tasks parallelly. So we may use multi-threading concept. So if you want to run all the programs at a time, so parallelly one is instead of one by one, we can go for multi-threading. And generally we may have we may get two types of errors in the real time. One is like syntactical errors, and the other one execution errors. So that execution errors only we call general exceptions. Python also supports proper exception handling mechanisms to avoid the runtime errors, so that we may not stuck somewhere to continue the execution or because of some what you can say that input mismatch or some runtime execution problems. Okay, so exception handling will help us to minimize or mitigate the runtime errors to continue our execution, and also it might improve our execution process and the flow of execution. Okay, so that's why we may use exception handling also in real time. And Python also supports storage facilities like to store your data permanently, something like files like CSV, JSON, and Excel and notepads. And also similarly, you can able to communicate with the databases like MySQL, MongoDB, and Oracle SQL Server. So it also supports all the databases and files which we commonly used in the market. So that also will be covered as part of our classes in future. Okay, and it is purely dynamic and distributive, means you can able to distribute the concept, mean that application through network, and also the memory whatever required for our application will allocate at the time of execution. So rather than conversion or compilation. So also Once your program execution completed, it may terminate the memory or it may release the memory, whatever is required. And now finally, it also supports GUI programming like HTML. It also supports to integrate the HTML. That's what we are planning to cover, HTML along with your Python. And also it supports TK-Inter like GUI desktop application. So it also supports GUI programming also. And finally, as I mentioned, it is a developer friendly. So means you can easily understand and you can easily write the programs using Python rather than C and Java. So if you, for example, complexity levels out of 10, if you consider Java might take 7 to 8 complexity, but when you go for Python, it is hardly 4 to 5 only complexity level. So you can easily upgrade yourself in the Python and you can start programming in Python very easily and very quickly, I can say that. That's why we call it as a developer friendly language. So till the point, any doubts or any point, if you're not able to understand, please ask me. I will cover that again. Otherwise, I will go for installation and execution. Please let me know if you have a small doubt. Also, you can ask me. No issues. I will repeat. But please open up yourself so that only I can understand whether you're able to understanding or not. Yeah, please ask me if you have any doubts. Yeah, any doubt? Hands up now? No? Can anyone confirm? No doubts? Hello? Hello? Okay, no issues. So I'm going to be showing how to download and install the Pycharm and Python now. Okay, so that if anyone not aware or if you're not really confident about that, so it may help you to understand it. Okay, so first we require to install the Python from our in our system. So for that we have to go to the Python. We can go for download. The Python org will be the official site for latest Python. So here we can keep on get the latest versions from the Python. Okay. So if you see, I'm able to see download Python 3.12. Okay. So see, after 3.6, all the versions have the most capable of features, and only 3 point. I mean that the latest versions always getting the some new features day by day. But before 3.6, very limited features are there, and there is a huge difference from 2.7 to 3. So after 3 only, Python will be more grand success in the market as like your I can say Java, we can say. So it's a competitor to Java nowadays, but when it is in the second and first version, it is not at all have a great features. And now I'm going to be downloading the latest version from the Python website. It's the official website. So, and also as I mentioned, right, it is a purely open source. So you don't require to pay for anything, or you don't require to even install also. So directly we can download and install in our machine without having any license. Okay. So now I'm going for downloads in my machine. Okay. So now if you see, this is the latest version what I downloaded. Okay. So now just you can double click on that. Okay. So now automatically it will show you a pop-up to confirm that. Yes. So this is the pop-up window is coming after double click on the software which we downloaded just now. And before you click on install now, you're required to check the two things. One is use admin privilege and installing. One is because you are the admin. And the second thing, add python.exe to path. This is one of the important point, because once you add this python.exe path, what will happen? Even you can use your command prompt also to run the Python applications. That is the major advantage of this one. And just click on our first part. Yes. And if you want to change the path or where it is installing, or if you want to change, customize that, you can go for second option, like customize the installation. But by default, if you want to take all the options by default, you can go for first option. It doesn't require any other options. Customize means it will give you some options to select or deselect. So this is the first task you are required to do. Once it is done, you can able to check yourself like whether Python successfully installed or not, just by opening the command prompt and checking the Python version. Okay. So if you see, it is also clearly showing core interpreter 64-bit. Okay. So if you observe, able to see here, its setup was successful, just click on close. Okay. So now to check that whether it is installed successfully or not. Okay. So just you require to open the command prompt. Okay. So command prompt you can able to open like this, or else you can search here also CMD. You can able to see the command prompt. Okay. So you can open that, and here you can type the Python hyphen version. Now what version we install, it will show that. You see the 3.12 is showing. Okay. So now that it indicates that your system is successfully installed the Python, so you can ready to use the Python. Okay. So if it is not showing, like Python is not showing as internal external command, that means it is not installed properly. Okay. So now I'm going for installing the Pycharm, so which is helpful for your program development. Okay. So in Pycharm we have basically two versions. One is community version, another one is enterprise version. Okay. So basically, enterprise version is a paid version. So we have to pay for them to get it down to our mission. So don't use it. So go for our free version. So I mean that what we can say that free version of community version, so that we can use to our application development of core Python is enough. Okay. So this is will show you all the Pycharm features and everything. Okay. Okay. So now just click on download button. So it will go for another page. Okay, where it will show you the options like whether you want to get the professional, or this is the professional version. So that's why it's showing free 30-day trial. That means after 30 days, it will be payable. You require to pay them. So we don't require that. So now, as I mentioned, right, Pycharm community action, this is what we require, pure Python development. It's not for web application, but at least Python we can use it. So now I'm downloading that. It's a purely open source component. So the Pycharm, again, I'm repeating, ways two variants. One is community version, another one enterprise version. So don't go for enterprise version, go for community version. So community version is completely open source based. So that means we can use lifetime without paying any money. But enterprise, it will give you 1 month trial version. After that, we have to pay. But enterprise is coming by default some of the extra features like the application development and as well as gaming, that all we can develop with without much code. I mean to say some plugins they provided. Okay. And again, we have to go back to the downloads where you can able to see the our Pycharm community edition once the download completed, successfully completed. So just I think it's completed. I'm refreshing. See here, yeah, I think it's still loading. Wait for some time. You can able to see here the progress of the Python download. Yeah, still, yeah, I hope it is done. Yeah, we have to move back to the downloads and refresh it once. No, still it isn't. Yeah, it's done now. Okay, so that means you're able to see the Pycharm icon. So that indicates that Pycharm download successfully completed. So we can start installing the Pycharm also in our mission. But before Pycharm, why install Python means this Pycharm internally using the Python to execute our programs. It's a Pycharm is a simply an editor as like Eclipse now. It's not like something different. So Pycharm is a Python editor as like your Eclipse for Java. Okay. We also have some other options like you can use even Visual Studio Code for Python development, Visual Studio Code, Pycharm, Sublime, and our regular what you call Anaconda. These are the different editors which are available in the market, but it is the one of the most standard and professional editor can be used. So that's why I'm preferring to use the Pycharm, but it's not mandatory that every company or everyone should use only Pycharm. They can use their own editors for their purpose. Okay, but Python is common, but Pycharm is optional. So now I'm installing the Pycharm in my machine, and also I will show you how to create a project and how to create a sample program. So now I'm starting installing a Pycharm. So first, welcome to Pycharm Community Edition setup will start. And then it is asking that where you want to install the Python. So you can see by default selecting some path from our mission. But if you want to change it, yes, you can change. There's no limit on that. And here it is asking some kind of like desktop icon and add bin folder to iPath and open folder as a project. These are all optionals, but generally I prefer to choose all way because it make me simple in future applications opening. Okay. And it is just asking to install all the components. So I'm just selecting install button. So it will install all the components required for executing and creating the Python programs. Yeah, it takes, I think 1 to 2 minutes it will take. Please wait. So after like completion of your installation, it may ask you like reboot now or I want to manual reboot later. So you can choose any of the option you comfort. I'm going with I want to reboot later. Okay, so just finishing. So once you finish it out, so you may see the desktop icon also. So whatever we created, because I selected to create the desktop icon. So similarly, you can in the search also you can type just Pycharm. So you can able to see the communication app. Okay. So these are two ways we can open the application. Just you can double click on that. It will open the Pycharm application. And now I will show you how to create a sample project and how to create a sample Python program. And I will sign up the class for today. Okay. So this is the latest version 2024.1.1. I can say that. So Pycharm is mostly yearly, 2 to 3 versions are coming every quarter base or half yearly basis basically. So you may get the latest updates every time. Again, I told you, right? It's the open source, so you can use directly. Yeah, see that like the main window is open and is showing like whether you want to create a new project or open the existing project or get from the version control system, that is Git. So this is also will cover in the future how to connect to the GitHub and how to share your work to other people and how to share your resume through online instead of that how to create a digital resume and how to share it in online instead of physical word paper. So that options also will cover in the future. But now we didn't create any projects, right? So I'm going to be creating a new project. Okay, I'm just clicking on new project here instead of opening. And here it is asking like project name. So I'm giving project name. Let's take what I'm giving. Yeah, Aurora project one. Let's take example. Okay, Aurora project one I'm giving. Or otherwise Aurora. I'm giving sample project. Okay. So where if you observe that it's creating a default folder like under users in my folder Pycharm projects. If you want to create a new folder, yes, you can create and you can work on that. So in my case also I'm changing my folder to D drive because I want to maintain my backup in the D drive. Okay. So close the C D, and in the D I just want to create a new folder. Okay. So nothing but new directory where I'm giving Pycharm apps. Okay. So now under that I'm going to save my project, all projects. Okay. And now again it is asking, see that if you see create Git repository, like if you want, it's the first time you are going to be creating, right? So now whether you want to share this project on the Git or not, it's asking. So I don't want to create. And do you want to create a welcome script like main.py it will create? I don't want to do that also, but it's up to you whether you want to create or not. So it is for Git sharing, it is for a sample file creation. And now interpreter type is giving three options: project virtual environment, Conda environment, Anaconda, and custom environment. Okay. So virtual environment means it will it will take the help of the existing Python what we installed, and it will create a virtual environment in your project folder, and it is maintaining all the dependencies or installations in the respective folder. Okay. But always better to choose custom environment where you can able an option select existing. Why? Because see, the important thing is you already installed the Python, right? So we can use the respective Python interpreter instead of reinstalling or resetting again. So that's why I'm selecting select existing, type Python. Here you see two types of the Conda Python. I'm taking Python, and where that Python is available in your mission is asking. So you can choose where it is available, means wherever it is installed you can choose, and you can put in the path here. So simply instead of that, like we can here if you see we have multiple options, right? So this is the actually Python I installed in my mission. See users, this is the base Python where I install. So this is the same path we have to use in the even selecting. But here what happened, it is creating virtual environment, so I don't want to use it. I want to create the physical environment presently, but I want path of this path. Just if you see app data, local programs, Python, Python.exe. Okay, so where I'm going now browse it. The first one C drive, under that users, under that my user ID, and now under sorry yeah, so under that app data. Okay, under app data we have local, under local we have something like programs, Python. See, if you see Python, and then it will show all the versions which we have in the machine. I have 3 versions, 3.1, 3.12. Just now we installed 12, so I'm selecting that one and open that. In this, we have to choose the python.exe. This is the one. Okay, now click on OK. The same path will be chosen from here, and we can use the respective path from our system. Yeah, we got it. And now simply click on create. Now it is creating an application using Python, so where you can create your own Python programs and you can able to run, because we already did the interpreter setup also. So whatever the interpreter we set up, that is showing in the corner of the Pycharm, if you see. So you are always have a right to change this at any point on demand. That means here initially I chosen 3.12, now you want to back to 3.10, or you want to configure the new interpreter which you installed recently. So that all options are provided here. If you click on here, it is showing change interpreter settings, that all options will be there. But later on we'll see how to configure that all, customize it, how to do that. Today I'm showing just a sample program. We can sign up the class for today. But see, once you set up the interpreter, it takes some time to indexing. Indexing means it will load all the inbuilt libraries or inbuilt, what I can say, that it will run in the background process, what is required, services, that everything will be configured automatically. So please wait till this indexing completed. Okay, you don't rush to write programs. Once it is done, so that we may get a more clean environment to run our programs. Yeah, the indexing is completed. So now in the same project, right click, whatever the project we created, our sample project, where you can have the new option. So where you see options like Python file, resource bundle, HTML file, like some other options also we have, but these are log symbol. Why? Because for the enterprise edition, you are able to see this all files, okay? But for our regular community, we can't create this all. We have to create manually only, okay? By using this file option. And now I'm selecting Python 5, where I'm giving like hello.python. Python extension will be .py as like .java, .c. So simply .py, and you can able to create a file. And now your file is created ready. So now you can type program. I'm just creating. So output statement in Python is print. So simply I'm writing welcome to Python. Okay. So now to run this program, we have multiple options. Here you can run this particular play button to run it, or right click on the program, and you can create same option here also. Anything is okay. So once you click on run button, you can able to see the output in the console. See that welcome to Python. So now whatever the program we are writing here, you can able to execute, and you can able to see the output here in the console. So this is we call console. Play button is method by console. Likewise, you can able to run the multiple programs and multiple applications we can able to create, and we can run it up. Okay. So this is the way how can we do in the Python program in our core Python. So likewise, we can able to create n number of projects also. If you see three multi-lines, right? Once you click, you can able to see that new project and project from version control like Git, new file, or you can able to open the existing folder. So these are all the different options we will see in the soon. But this is a very simple high-level project creation, file creation, execution in the Python. Okay. If you already install the Python and Pycharm from that internship classes, you can start creating a new project for Python. You can start creating a simple Python, test it yourself. If anybody not installed so far, now you can install it and try to run it program. So that the next class we're continuing the programming concepts like operators, variables, that all will start. So it might help you to understand that quickly. Okay. So this is all about today class. So if anyone have any doubt, please ask me. And also HTML developer on leave. He went to village for festival like Diwali and Ramjan. He went to the village. So mostly HTML classes won't be there this week. So next week only will be there. So if you have any doubts, you can ask me. So any other doubts, please ask me and sign up the class. And still any more doubts or any questions, please ask me. And as I mentioned already, like we are sharing the videos in channel. So if you subscribe the channel, you'll get the notification once we upload the backup video. Okay. Okay. So I hope no one is having any doubt. I'm signing off. Okay. Thanks all. Bye bye.